Right, so today we're going to be gapping piston rings on this 5.3 liter LS junkyard motor. This is going in a 2001 Ford Mustang with a turbo. My plan is to make about 550, 600 wheel horsepower. So it is important to gap the rings so they don't butt together and crack a ringland or even worse. So I'm going to show you how to gap them properly. Now take note, I'm not a professional. I'm just showing you the way that I was taught. This is the way that I'm going to do it, and I've heard that it works well, and nobody's has had any issues. I can't talk. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip the camera around, show you everything that you need, what you can get away without, and the whole process. So I would say one of the most important steps is organization. So I have my cylinders 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. I have them like that just because that's a good way to note so you don't get mixed up that they are flip-flopping. So I already have my 4 cylinders already done and on the pistons, and I have them labeled corresponding to that cylinder that I gapped the rings with, as well as on paper. Before I put them all on the pistons, I laid all the rings down, and I have them for cylinder 1, 2, and so on. So I have top ring, and I have them facing up and down with the openings, and I'll explain that in a minute. So, have organization. I have everything written down. I'm doing my top ring at 24 thousandths, bottom ring at 26 thousandths. You can ask a million different people. You're going to get a million different answers. I've heard people run as much as 30 on top and bottom with no issue. I've heard people run 26 with blow-by. So, kind of pick a lane and stick with it. I chose kind of in the middle of what I've heard a lot of the forums and all that saying with 26 and 24. So with that, you're going to need something to push the piston ring down into the cylinder with. I'm just using one of my pistons. You can actually get a piston ring tool to push it down so it's even, but I feel this works pretty well, and most of us who are building an engine hopefully already has a piston. Next, you're going to need a ring filer. You can get this on Amazon, eBay for about 25, 30 bucks. It works. It's by hand. You can get electric ones, but I feel a hand one works a little bit better to prevent you from over grinding the ring and having too big of a ring gap. Next, you're going to need ring filers, gappers, feeler gauges. There it is. I am doing 24 thousandths top ring and 26 thousandths bottom ring. So you're going to need one of those, and you're also going to need piston rings. So what you're going to want to do is you take the ring that you're starting with. I always start with the bottom ring, just because it goes deeper into the cylinder. It's last on the piston, so it's a little easier to remember. I like to make sure that if it's directional, to put that facing the way that it should. This dot means it goes up. On yours, it may mean it goes down. So read your directions, do your homework. You put it in, and I like to do it with the gap facing the way that it's going to go on the piston on final assembly. So bottom ring, I'm going to put down. Top ring, I'm going to do up. So that's the way I'm going to do it. You can do it however you feel, but this is just kind of extra precaution for me. So you put the ring in one side at a time, and you push them down. And then you take your piston and you push it down even. Now you want to make a mark or a mental note on the piston how far you're putting it down so you know it's even. My piston has these little ears on either side. So when you put that down into the cylinder, you just get both ears level. And that seems to have been working for all other 4 cylinders. I already have one of my rings gapped, but I'm going to show you how to do it for another one. So it's important to take your piston ring and put it in the cylinder before you start grinding, just to get an initial size and gap of it, because you never know. Brand new piston rings, they could be close to what you want. They could be completely off out of the box. So you put the ring in. I know it's hard to see, I don't have a tripod. You put the ring in semi-flat, as flat as you can get. Then you take your piston and you just put it in and push down to where you get your mark. In this case, those ears, I just want them flat and level with the cylinder. You pull it out, then you have your gap. And as you can see, that's way too tight. We are looking for 26 thousandths on this one and 24 on the top ring. So what you do is you take this out, and I have another ring here for demonstration. And you put it up to these posts with light pressure, and you only grind one side. Take a side, pick it, and stick with it. Don't do both. And you just put medium to light pressure on that side and grind this, obviously with two hands holding the ring and applying light pressure to it while cranking the handle. And do this slowly. Check 100 times if you have to. Taking the ring out, grinding it, testing it. Not enough, keep grinding it. Do this 100 times, a million times, doesn't matter, till you get your desired gap. So I now have my 26 thousandths feeler gauge, and I have the freshly ground ring inside the cylinder facing the direction that I want it to. And you just run your feeler gauge in there, and you should feel a little resistance, but it shouldn't be tight. So you can see I can move it freely, but I still feel a little bit of resistance on the sides of the feeler gauge. So that's what you want. If you'll notice, the end gap is a little bit tapered going from the top to bottom. You don't want that. You want that 90 degrees with both sides. So what you do is when you get your desired gap, you take it out and you take note what side is kind of tapering down. So in this case, it is right here on this bottom side. So you take it out and you just lightly grind right on that side, kind of by twisting the end of the piston ring in with the grinder, just a little bit like that, with light pressure, just to kind of clean that edge up. Just like that. You want a 90 degree gap, and this is gap to 26 thousandths for my bottom ring. And you basically repeat the process for your bottom ring, top ring on all 8 cylinders. Now there's one final step you have to do, and that is you take your ring when it's done being grinded, and you grab a file, and the side that you were grinding on, you just want to lightly file the edge and the corners to take the burrs off and the sharp edges, because you don't want it to get caught on the cylinder or the inside of the piston and not work the way that it should. So you're not removing material, you just want to just lightly file just to take the wire edge off the top, bottom, and then just to lightly round out the corners just to take the sharp edge off of them. So that's pretty much it. There's not much to it. It's a simple process. It is a slow process. So take your time and do it right the first time. So this, again, is going in a 2001 Ford Mustang. This is going to have a turbo, make about 600 horsepower. So I do have a CDO9 behind that. So if you'd like to see me run the adapter kit on this, do an install and possibly a review down the road, let me know. I already cut the bell housing off of this, but I could still do an install kit. If this video was helpful, drop a like, hit the bell for notifications when I drop another video, and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.